Every once in a while, a gamer will feel the urge to play a horror game. Sometimes it's because they're bored and looking for something thrilling. Either way, I got you covered. Welcome to HotFix Gaming. I'm Joy. Here are 10 of the scariest horror games out there that you should play. Number 10. Home Sweet Home. Home Sweet Home starts by putting its players in an upsetting situation from the get-go. The player's character awakens in an unfamiliar place, his wife nowhere to be found. However, it quickly worsens as you encounter a ghost girl who can teleport through bloody portals, and she's ready to chase you down with a box cutter. Home Sweet Home expands into a dangerous journey, rife with unsettling beings from various facets of Thai culture like Prita and Kresu. Choosing to forego combat, Home Sweet Home has you always using the flight half of your flight or fight response to stay alive when encountering the various foes that will stalk you throughout the game. While not reviewed as highly as some of the other scariest games on this list, many players agreed that the game did a frighteningly great job with its horror elements. It does so well that it remains memorable for its atmosphere and scares rather than for its mixed reception. Number 9. SOMA. SOMA is certainly scary in all of the traditional ways. After all, this was made by the same team that delivered Amnesia. You can expect a ton of scary visuals and expertly executed jump scares. However, SOMA really is that kind of horror game that gets under your skin in other ways too. There's a sense of hopelessness in this sci-fi horror game that only becomes more pronounced as you slowly unravel its many mysteries. You'll start to welcome those more traditional scares for the way they break up the deeper feelings of dread that this title inspires. By the time you reach SOMA's incredible ending, you'll be left staring at the screen, wondering if you can ever get back the piece of yourself that this game steals. Number 8. Dead Space Remake. Many of the best examples of sci-fi horror rely on the terror of the unknown. From Alien to Event Horizon, sci-fi horror stories often show us the consequences of going too far and facing something that we don't entirely understand. That idea is at the heart of nearly everything that makes Dead Space brilliant. While the game's atmosphere and world-class sound design deserve all the praise, Dead Space truly distinguishes itself in the ways that its enemy design influences the combat and storytelling. You'll never forget the first time you fall for a necromorph playing dead. A shocking moment that assures you'll never feel safe in this game, whether in a save room or walking down in a quiet hallway. What begins as gory jump scares quickly turns into deeper feelings of dread for the player that, when combined with the incredible art and sound design inside the USG Ishimura, makes you feel like you're constantly in danger. Any second, a necromorph could pop out of a vent or sneak behind you. Number 7. The Evil Within 2. Considered by many players better and scarier than its predecessor, The Evil Within 2 puts you back into the shoes of Sebastian Castellanos. The game opens up a small hub world where more secrets are discovered following each major mission or story beat. It's a different flavor for the series, but feels more like its own creature when compared to the original game. And all of the various monsters you'll encounter, it's one particular ghostly woman we should warn you about. Good luck with her. The Evil Within 2 is a more enjoyable experience than its predecessor. More importantly though, it is also scarier. The sequel is loaded with jump scares and graphic content that is not for the faint of heart, and its open nature makes encounters feel less telegraphed and more unpredictable. To top it off, the story is genuinely exciting. Number 6. Outlast. Outlast is a terrifying game from start to finish. Playing as Miles Upshur, a journalist who's wound up locked inside the Mount Massive Asylum, players are forced to navigate the psychiatric hospital with little more than his handheld camera on their person. Making matters worse, Miles has no way to defend himself against the asylum's dangerous inmates. He's only capable of fleeing and hiding from their assaults. Even games that rely primarily on stealth usually give players a non-lethal weapon or a defensive item to use. Outlast, however, does not, leaving the players to timidly navigate the dark with the game's synonymous night vision filter. Put simply, Outlast's motto is hide, run, or die. While many games have since copied the formula it introduced, Outlast is remembered as one of the first horror games to make the player feel entirely powerless. And if you're enjoying this video so far, let me know by hitting that like button. Number 5. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. confrontation only instills fear if you're not confident in the outcome. This is why many horror game creators often strip players of all forms of self-defense. After all, having a weapon with which you can repel and kill the monsters inspires a sense of safety, or at least confirms that you have a fighting chance to survive to the end of the game. Fatal Frame 2 takes a different and brilliant approach to confrontation and video game combat. The game arms you with a special camera that's able to ward off spirits. However, the camera's only really effective if you're willing to get uncomfortably close to the spirits and wait for your camera to indicate that you're going to get an optimal shot. This style of in-your-face combat, combined with the grotesque design of the spirits themselves, means that you never feel confident in your ability to defend yourself, despite the fact that you are armed with the best possible weapon for your situation. The original Fatal Frame is also quite good, but the level and character design of Crimson Butterfly puts it over the top. Number 4. Resident Evil 7. First Resident Evil dropped in 1996, this series has been at the head of the survival horror genre and has served as the foundation for many inspired horror projects. In 2017, after a 5-year hiatus between the 6th and the 7th main entries, Capcom finally released Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. Returning to the roots of Resident Evil, but putting the players into a first-person perspective, RE7 forces players to directly face the slow burn of Ethan Winter's harrowing mission. Players control Ethan as he tries to save his partner, Mia, from the deranged and mutated Baker family. The game brought pure horror back to the Resident Evil franchise in the biggest and best way possible. In fact, its opening moments rank right up there with some of the scariest games ever made. Great survival horror games should make you feel helpless, and that's exactly what Resident Evil 7 does. From the game's isolated Louisiana location to the number of times it forces you to simply run, Resident Evil 7 expertly blends rollercoaster pacing with atmospheric scares. Of course, only the bravest souls will be able to get through the incredible VR version of this game. Number 3. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Silent Hill as a franchise has long been remembered as one of the grandfathers of survival horror games. While the franchise is known for many unsettling entries, Silent Hill 2 is its most popular by far. Its story and characters are nearly synonymous with horror gaming for many players, especially the iconic Pyramid Head. Silent Hill 2 has scares, but it earns its spot among the scariest games for the nerves and suffocating atmosphere it creates, with its creatures and warped locales emphasizing them. The remake was released just earlier this month on October 8th and has since been gathering one great review after another. The game is praised for being true to the original story, while also updating and improving many aspects of the 2001 title. The new Silent Hill 2 easily stands amongst the likes of Resident Evil 2 and Dead Space, making it a must-play game for veterans and newcomers alike. Number 2. Visage. Visage puts players in a large, seemingly empty home, a classic horror setup. Though, as soon as the opening cutscene starts, it's clear that something much worse is happening. Players play as Dwayne Anderson, who wakes up in his home after killing his family and taking his own life. Dwayne's home is now taken over by the paranormal, and he's seemingly unable to leave it or reach the outside world otherwise. Each chapter of Visage explores the life and death of each of the previous inhabitants of Dwayne's home, with bone-chilling paranormal phenomena rife throughout. Visage was a product of heavy and open inspiration from other titles in the horror genre, but it more than stands on its own as a horrifying gaming experience worth getting scared by. In fact, Visage has been ranked as the 3rd scariest game ever by scientists. In order to determine that, researchers have gathered 200 volunteers to play all the top horror games released between 1992 and 2022, while hooked up to a heart rate monitor. The games that produced the most beats per minute compared to the players' resting heart rates were determined to be the most terrifying. Scientists also took the severity of heart rate spikes during jump scares into account. And that's how Visage ended up on their radar. Number 1. MADiSON. Remember the research group that I was just talking about? Well, they've determined that this game is the scariest of them all. And rightfully so. MADiSON places you in the shoes of a 16-year-old boy named Luca. He receives a camera for his birthday, and shortly after begins to see visions of a mysterious woman named Madison Hale, who may or may not be possessing his body in order to murder his family for the purpose of conducting a satanic ritual. Luca then has to navigate around his grandfather's house with his mind and body slowly deteriorating as he sees hallucinations and paranormal activity, with the space he used to find comforting slowly but surely twisting into something unrecognizable. According to the researchers who studied volunteers while they played this game, the frights in MADiSON increased heart rates to an average of 97 beats per minute, which is roughly the same as a moderate jog. So if you want a light workout but don't want to leave the house, why not try MADiSON? What other horror games have made your heart rate go crazy? Let me know your most frightening ones in the comments section below. And if you enjoy gaming content and want more, be sure to check out the videos linked on screen.